Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss about kernel techniques in support vector machine. We all know that support vector machine or SVM is a very powerful algorithm when it comes to classification in a 2D space. But with the help of kernel techniques, we can utilize higher dimensional spaces to provide a boundary lines or a better boundary line for nonlinear spaces. So in this video, we will first generate these type of nonlinear curves. So in this curve, as you can see, we have a blue line, which is one class or one type of points, and we have the orange line. So this orange is another class. We cannot find out a linear boundary between these 2 points by only utilizing a 2D space. So I will explain you how to create a higher dimensional data with help of kernel techniques. We cannot create a 5-dimensional plot, but as you can see, I have taken these points in a 3-dimensional space and I can easily generate a square boundary over here and separate these 2 points. Okay, so this all things I will explain in this video. So be with me till the end, and if you are first time visiting my channel, do not forget to press the bell icon and the subscribe button. So without waiting, let's start. So guys, we are on our notebook. I'm going to import all these basic libraries and let's import them. After that, I want to generate a circular type of data distribution. So I'm utilizing a circle equation. We all know that a circle equation is pretty simple. If I will take h and k 0, then it will become like x square plus y square is equal to r square, where r is the radius and h and k are the distance from the origin. Okay, so I have created a simple function to generate a circular boundary with a given radius and the x limits. I will just run this one, and here I am generating two circles with a radius of 20 and 10, and there is a little bit distance between their centers. Okay, now let's run this and generate the scatter plot. So as you can see that we have a blue line and the orange line, and we cannot separate these two lines with help of a single linear classifier. Okay, so we need some non-linearity in the classifier or a circular boundary to separate these 2 points. So what I'm going to do over here, that I will just convert all these points to a data frame. So here I have converted all these points to a data frame, and you can see that this x1 and x2 are the axes. This is the x1 axis, this is the x2 axis, and these y are the labels. So 0 means the blue label and y is equal to 1 means the yellow label. Okay, so here is a simple function which generates the boundary line. I got this on Stack Overflow, and all credit goes to the developer of this function. I've given the link in the description so that you can check out his work. This function just create the boundary line based on the classifier we are giving over here. So I have given a linear classifier, and now I am going to plot this. So here you can see that this classifier is not able to provide any decision boundary to this curves. All the color is blue over here. It means there is no boundary it was able to find out between these 2 points. Okay, now if I calculate the F1 score by taking the training and testing dataset, so what I did over here, that I have divided this dataset into two parts. One is training and other is testing. I have taken 0.25 means 75% point on the training dataset and rest on the testing dataset. So if I run this one, so I got very low accuracy score. So that is 0.466. That is very low accuracy. And here I am plotting up the confusion matrix. So if you see the confusion matrix, so it was failed to classify even a single point correctly over here. Okay, so this confusion matrix shows me that the accuracy is pretty low. We are going to generate some additional dimension with help of kernel techniques. So we have multiple types of kernel techniques available. So I will open up a link over here. So I have given the link of this website in my description so that you can go and check out all the types of kernels. So today we will be talking about the polynomial kernel first, and as you can see, the formula itself says that it's a matrix multiplication between the features xi and xj plus an identity matrix or 1. So it seems a bit complicated over here, but I will explain how this actually works in form of equation. So guys, as you already know that we have one y which was a function of x1 and x2. This is our x1 and x2, and this y is actually a function of x1 and x2. Okay, so according to this polynomial kernel, we are going to make a vector multiplication of xi and xj. If you see here, I am doing a vector multiplication between x1 x2 with the same x1 and x2. This matrix you will be able to find out when you will multiply the rows and columns of these two matrices. Okay, so this is a simple matrix multiplication. So this can be written as x1 square, this can be written as x1 x2, and this can be written as x2 x1, and this can be written as x2 square. So these multiplication over here becomes my features. Okay, so so my first additional feature or another dimension I will say will become x1 square. The other dimension will become x1 x2, and that gets multiplied by 2, and then the last feature will become x2 multiplied by x2. So you can add up an identity matrix to this one, but for now I'm keeping it simple and only taking these three features. So if you see the code over here, so I have added three more terms to our data frame. The first one is x1 square, that is nothing but the square of this first column. Then we have x2 square, then we have multiplication of these two columns. Okay, so these three features I have added, and now as you can see that it has become a 5-dimensional data set. So we have all 5 dimensions of x1 x2 squared of both the terms and then multiplication of both the terms. So these are 5-dimensional data set, and we have one y. Now we will take all these 5 dimension and feed into a linear classifier, a simple SVM classifier. Guys, this is called the kernel technique. Okay, you have created these three additional dimension so that you will be able to find out the non-linear boundary, and I will explain by the plot also that how this is able to find out that boundary. Okay, so be with me. If I'll run this now, you will see that my accuracy is 100%. It says the accuracy score is 1.0. Let's check the confusion matrix. So you will see that there is no false negative and false positive over here. Okay, so I got 100% accuracy. I have taken 3 dimension now. So the first one is x1, the other one is x2, and the third dimension is x1 x2, just the multiplication of these two terms. And then I am creating a three-dimensional plot of this one. So if you see the three-dimensional plot in detail, you cannot have a linear type of boundary which can still separate these 2 points. Okay, you can see that your yellow line is actually on the 2 sides. So you cannot generate a linear boundary anywhere in this 3-dimensional space. But if you will take the square terms, the x1 square and the x2 square, and generate the 3-dimensional plot. So here what I did, that I have taken x1 square, x2 square, then x1 x2. Now let's see the plot. So if you see this 3-dimensional plot, it's pretty much easy to generate a linear boundaries over here to separate these two data points, and that is only happened because you have taken the square of x1 and x2. If you see the 3-dimensional plot quite carefully, you will see that this yellow two boundaries are actually one on the negative side, other on the positive side. This is minus 15 over here, and that is 15. Okay, now you've taken the square of these two terms, so all those points had shifted to the positive side, and the x1 and x2 has created the space in between these 2 points. Okay, so that is the reason you are able to define a linear boundary between these 2 points in higher dimensional space. Since we cannot visualize the 5-dimensional space, so I cannot explain those things over here, but in the 5-dimensional space where you will have all the other features x1, x2, x2 square and x1 square and x1, x2, you will have even more clear boundaries between these two data points. Okay, so guys, this is only to give you a in-depth explanation of how kernel techniques works in SVM. So guys, if you are utilizing SVM classifier from the sklearn library, you can just give the RBF over here. Okay, so I'll show you where you have to give the RBF. So if you see the function over here, instead of this kernel, you have to give RBF, It will automatically consider generating these higher dimensional spaces and providing a linear boundaries between them. So these type of kernels, you can see the complete explanation of this kernel over here. So this is the equation for the kernel. So you can see that I was able to provide the non-linear boundary for these points. Okay. So this is only the basics of kernel techniques, guys. There are multiple ways to generate higher dimensional dataset. If you guys have liked today's lecture, press the like button, and if you are first time visiting my channel, don't forget to press the bell icon and the subscribe button. Okay guys, I'll meet you in the next lecture. Bye bye, take care.